Wastes originate from the human activities such as agriculture, industry, domestic activities, etc. According to origin, waste is classified as domestic, industrial, commercial, clinical, construction, nuclear, and agricultural. While according to properties, waste is classified as inert, toxic, and inflammable. If these wastes remain untreated, it leads to air, water, soil, or solid waste pollution. Starting in the 18th century, the Industrial Revolution brought about drastic changes in the social and economic lives of humans. The benefits of the revolution are felt even today, but so are these adverse effects. The introduction of industrialization brought about industrial pollution. Industrial pollution refers explicitly to any contamination caused by industrial activities. The effects of industrial pollution are vast, causing water contamination, a release of toxins into soil and the air, and it is the cause of some of the most significant environmental disasters of all time. A wide range of pollutants are emitted by human activity on factories and industries, like carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, ammonia, particulate matter, lead, hydrocarbons, organic compounds, and other chemicals.
It is done most commonly through a sanitary landfill or through incineration. Landfills, a modern sanitary landfill, is a depression in an impermeable soil layer that is lined with an impermeable membrane. In it, solid waste is placed in a suitable selected and prepared landfill site in a prescribed manner. The waste material is spread out and compacted in an appropriate heavy machinery. The waste is covered in each day with a layer of compacted soil. This is the process of burning municipal solid waste in a properly designed furnace under suitable temperature and operating conditions. It reduces the municipal solid waste by about 90% and 75% by weight. Bacterial decomposition of organic component of the municipal waste result in the formation of humus or compost, and the process is known as composting. It helps in the disposal of solid waste, disposal of night soil, and production of viable manure for crops. It is also termed as biodegradation. It means using some components of the waste that may have some economic value. Recycling conserves resources, reduce the energy used during manufacture, and also reduce pollution. It is a kind of destructive distillation in which a solid waste are heated in pyrolysis reactor at 650 to 1000 degrees centigrade in oxygen-depleted environment. By this process, the chemical constituents and chemical energy of some organic waste are recovered. The organic constituents split up into gaseous liquid and gaseous fractions like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, tar, methane, charred carbon, and etc.
The ecosystem has been significantly impacted because of pollution. and the consequences will affect many future generations. Big industries and manufacturing plants use significant amount of water from nearby lakes, rivers, oceans to operate. Water pollution comes from different number of sources. If the pollution comes from a single source, such as an oil spill, it is called point source pollution. While point source pollution originates from a specific place, it can affect miles of waterways and ocean. If the pollution comes from many sources, it is called non-point source pollution. These may include agricultural or stormwater runoff or debris flown into waterways from land. Sometimes the pollution may affect the environment hundreds of miles away from the source, such as nuclear waste. This is called transboundary pollution. Contamination can result from a disaster or the slow downriver creep of industrial, agricultural, or municipal discharge. One example of pollution location in the country of Laguna Bay, which is the Philippines' largest lake and supplies Metro Manila 16 million people with a third of their fish. It also supports agriculture, industry, and hydropower generation. Many of the millions of people living in the lake shores are informal settlers whose homes lack proper sanitation facilities. At least 500,000 of them are estimated to be discharging raw sewage into the lake. Industry is a huge source of water pollution. It produces pollutants that are extremely harmful to people and the environment. Many industrial facilities use fresh water to carry away waste from the plant and into the rivers, lakes, and ocean. Industrial and agricultural works involves the use of many different chemicals that can run off into the water and pollute it. Pesticides. Runoffs of these pesticides can cause water pollution and poison aquatic life. Subsequently, birds, humans, and other animals may be poisoned if they eat infected fish. Petroleum. Oil spills usually have only a localized effect on wildlife but can spread for miles. The oil can cause the death of many fish and stick to the feathers of seabirds, causing them to lose the ability to fly. Asbestos. Asbestos fibers can be inhaled and cause illness such as asbestosis, mesothelioma, lung cancer, intestinal cancer, and liver cancer. Lead. It is a non-biodegradable substance, so it is hard to clean up once the environment is contaminated. Lead is harmful to the health of animals, including humans, as it can inhibit the action of bodily enzymes. Mercury. It is a non-biodegradable substance, so it is hard to clean up once the environment is contaminated. Mercury is harmful to the animals as it can cause illness through mercury poisoning. Nitrates. The increased use of fertilizers means that nitrates are more often being washed from the soil and into the rivers and lakes. Phosphates. The increased use of fertilizers means that the phosphates are more often being washed up from the soils and into the rivers and lakes. Sulfur is a non-metallic substance that is harmful for marine life. Oils does not dissolve in water. Instead, it forms a thick layer on water surface. This can stop marine plants receiving enough life from photosynthesis. Petrochemicals are formed from gas or petrol and can be toxic to marine life.
Air pollution refers to the release of pollutants into the air that are harmful to human health and the planet as a whole. The causes of industrial pollution are extensive, but here is a list of some of the top reasons. A lot of air and water pollution has occurred from companies who ignored rules or standard practices to facilitate rapid growth. Many industries have been able to ignore or entirely bypass pollution laws because the policies are either not valid or not adequately enforced by pollution control boards. There are many industries and factories, and most of them are polluting the air every day. Small sectors that have to rely on grants from the government to keep operating are often able to avoid following environmental regulations. Updating technology is expensive, and there are many companies and plants which are relying on outdated technology to continue operating their business successfully. Older technologies tend to produce large amounts of waste. One of the most common forms of leaching from natural resources is fracking for oil. When industries pull minerals, the process causes pollution in the soil and also causes oil leaks in space that are harmful and deadly to people and animals. One of the most common forms of soil and water pollution are because of companies who do not dispose of their waste correctly. This is one of the most significant causes of pollution because the effects include severe and chronic health issues and lower air quality. These are either deadly or have severe health risk even in small amounts.
These two are the most prevalent types of air pollution. Smog, or ground-level ozone, occurs when emissions from combusting fossil fuel react with sunlight. Soot, or particulate matter, is made up of tiny particles of chemical, soils, smoke, dust, or allergens, in the form of gas or solid, that are carried in the air. The sources of smog and soot are similar. The tiniest airborne particles in soot are especially dangerous because they can penetrate the lungs and bloodstream, and worsen bronchitis, lead to heart attack, and even hasten death. By trapping the Earth's heat in the atmosphere, greenhouse gases lead to warmer temperature and all the hallmarks of climate change: rising sea levels, more extreme weather, heat-related deaths, and increasing transmission of infectious disease like Lyme. Another class of greenhouse gases, hydrofluorocarbons, AFCs, are thousands of times more powerful than carbon dioxide in their ability to trap heat. Mold and allergens from trees, weeds, and grass are also carried in the air, are exacerbated by climate change, and can be hazardous to health. They are not regulated by the government and less directly connected to human actions, but they can be considered air pollution. Pollen allergies are worsening because of climate change. That means more people will suffer runny noses, fevers, itchy eyes, and other symptoms.
Noise is an unwanted man-made sound that penetrates the environment. It is any sound irritating to one's ear which comes from an external source. Noise pollution, on the other hand, is environmental pollution consisting of annoying or harmful noise.
Certainly, the streets of Metro Manila are no place to go for peace and quiet. Sources of noise pollution include but are not limited to roadway motor vehicles, aircrafts, factories, air conditioners, machines, public address systems, karaoke concert, videoke bars, sing-along clubs, loud parties, neighbors, industrial development and construction works. noise expert has pointed out that the quietest place in the metropolis is a recording studio where the sound muffling takes things down to 15 decibels. The parts of the ear that process high-frequency sounds are usually the first to be affected. The degree of hearing loss depends on the loudness of the noise and how long you are exposed to it. Sudden explosive sounds, such as gunshots, can cause immediate damage. Some people exposed to excessive noise develop tinnitus, which is described as a constant ringing sound. For most cases of noise-induced hearing loss, there is no cure. Hearing aids only amplify sounds and can't replace normal hearing. According to World Health Organization,
The recognition of noise as a serious health hazard as opposed to a nuisance is a recent development, and the health effects of the hazardous noise exposure are now considered to be an increasingly important public health problem.
apart from damage to hearing, exposure to constant and excessive noise can cause other health problems, including headache, elevated blood pressure, fatigue, irritability, digestive disorders, increased susceptibility to colds and other minor infections. The vibration is picked in the inner ear by a small, spiral-shaped organ called the cochlea. Hairs on the cochlea sense the vibration and pass on the message to the brain via the cochlear nerve. These sensitive hairs are bent, damaged, and broken by excessive noise. The resulting scar tissue can't conduct sound. The loudness of noise is measured in decibels. Sensitivity to noise differs from one individual to the next, but experts believe that damage to hearing occurs when noise levels are higher than 85 decibels, which is about the loudness of heavy traffic. The risk of hearing loss increases as the noise becomes louder. There are two kinds of noise stand out in this jurisdiction: industrial noise and non-industrial noise pollution. Industrial noise is that unwanted sound emitted by machines and the equipment found in a workplace, such as generators and engines. Non-industrial noise, on the other hand, is community noise, also known as domestic noise. It ranges from sources such as air conditioning systems, office machines, home appliances, and neighbors. Noise levels can be measured using a sound level meter, which detects the pressure of sound waves as they move through the air. Reducing exposure to excessive noise in the workplace can be accomplished in many different ways.